So when you think about net zero and human rights, these are not easy, small topics. These are things that really matter. These are some of the biggest challenges of our time. And it's really unique to have the opportunity at Zalando to be able to work toward these big goals and to figure it out along the way with amazing teams and people that are, working really hard to make this happen.
Today I have Elizabeth Carter, Head of Sustainability with me. Hi, welcome.
Thanks, Janine.
I'm really excited to have you here with me today and that we talk about sustainability and what it actually means at Zalando. But before we start, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Absolutely. Well, I grew up all over the US, from California to Kansas to the East Coast and back, but I've been in Berlin now for 10 years.
Oh, nice.
And I joined Zalando a year ago.
So you are the head of sustainability, and meaning that's a huge topic, sustainability. It's broad, it can touch so many points. What does sustainability mean for Zalando?
Great question. Indeed, it is broad. Well, fashion, as you know, has a big impact. So when we think about people, 1 in 8 people around the world works in the fashion value chain. And up to 10% of carbon emissions are from fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And the industry creates 125 billion items a year, which today primarily end up in landfills.
Uh-huh.
So when we think about Zalando, we are the starting point for fashion in Europe. So we have a responsibility and an opportunity to really be part of this solution. So for us, it's not just an ethical choice, it's actually a strategic move. There's really a lot changing right now in our industry. There's new competitors, a lot of regulation in the EU, as well as changing customer perceptions and behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So that means sustainability is really central to future-proofing our business, giving us a more resilient business model, and ultimately widening our competitive advantage.
What is the strategy that we are implementing to improve the situation?
So we have 2 overall sustainability ambitions. The first is on the people side, and that is about working toward fair labor conditions for people in our supply chain with a focus on our private labels business. The second is really around net zero on the environmental side. And so net zero, put simply, is making sure that we're not putting more emissions out into the Earth's atmosphere than we're taking away.
And how do we make sure that this is happening?
Well, that's the big question. So our ambition is by 2040 to be net zero in our own operations, which is mostly our offices and our warehouses, but then also in our private label business. And then by 2050 for the rest of our value chain. And so what that means is we need to build a roadmap to really get there. There is no clear roadmap that exists, right? So we're working toward not just that long-term target, but nearer-term targets and making sure that we're building clarity across the business around what we need to do when.
And I mean, of course, 2040, people think like, oh, it's still 16 years or 16 from now to 2024, I could say that.
Yeah.
So it's still 16 years, so there's so much time. And of course, this is the main goal looking forward. But as I said, like there's still steps in between that you want to achieve. The first thing that would come into my mind is ZEOS. One of the first things that we implemented would already kind of maybe in the warehouse part, maybe already supports this, I would say. Now, is it true?
So there's two key hotspots that we have in our business in terms of carbon emissions. The first is the products that we sell, and that's the vast majority. And then the second is more in the packaging and transportation space. So ZEOS, of course, is part of that second piece, and then our B2C business is more part of that first piece. But there's really 3 key levers that will help us achieve our net zero target. So the first is around better materials. And so what that means is moving from conventional materials to recycled materials. So when we think about something like cotton, we want to move from that conventional cotton to regenerative or even better recycled cotton. The second is energy, and this is the most important and most powerful lever. And so here we want to move from fossil fuels to energy that is more renewable as well as efficient. And then the third lever is circular business models and efficiencies. And what we're looking to do there is continue to grow our business while reducing our use of resources.
So then let's touch up on the third one, the circular business model. Does this mean that we also work with secondhand clothes, and we take them in and we sell them?
It sure
or
does.
or also, do we use the products to recycle and use a material? How do you use as well for the first one and for the third one that you just mentioned?
So circularity is a really key tool to enable this overall transition that we're looking to achieve. And so circularity is all about keeping products in the circulation as long as possible, right? So extending their life cycle. And you can do that through a lot of different things like caring and repairing for your clothes, refurbishing them, reusing them, ultimately recycling them. But the goal is to really never create waste out of clothes and to regenerate nature in the process. So at Zalando, one of the key ways we do this is with our pre-owned offering.
Yeah.
And this is something that's on our platform. Any Zalando customer can return their gently used items in exchange for a voucher and give that fashion a second chance.
And then we have, of course, the private labels. So on the private labels, we have decarbonization plans that are already in place or actually being set up. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yes. So we have an overall roadmap that we're building for the business, and part of that is in our private labels. So private labels is really an exciting part of our business because it's really an incubator of different models of circularity, of really being at the forefront of sustainability. And so I will tell you a little bit more about it when we get to one of my pieces.
So then, please tell me, what is your Zalando piece?
So I'm actually wearing my Zalando piece. It is this blouse.
Nice.
And what's exciting about this blouse and unique about it is that it is actually an early prototype of something coming soon from Zalando and one of our partners. This partner is called Cirque, and they are they're a tech company in fashion that is working to convert waste from fashion into new products.
So you have the prototype on. What material is it made out of?
So I brought you a fabric swatch.
Can I touch it?
You can touch it.
And feels a little bit like silk.
It does, doesn't it? But it's not silk. So it's actually lyocell, which is made from wood pulp. But in this case, it is 100% recycled. So this comes from fashion waste. So for Zalando, it's really exciting to be working with innovators who are bringing new solutions to the market that address some of the biggest challenges around waste and around emissions, and also around water. So by working with textile-to-textile recyclers, we can help be part of the solution. And we've invested in several textile-to-textile recyclers and are now advancing in that journey to working with them to scale their products, like this one, which we will then be able to bring to our customers at an affordable and accessible price point in our private labels.
That just sounds like an amazing step in the future and exactly like where you want to see fashion going. I really like the step that Zalando is taking towards this. And I think it's a very good Zalando piece you brought to really showcase how Zalando is moving into the future, into this step, into making it a little bit better, the fashion world, making it a better place, let's say, and not just being the fast fashion kind of company that sometimes people see us, but actually no, Zalando is taking this approach and we want to be a better first point of fashion.
Yeah, it's a tangible first step, right,
Exactly.
toward the ambition that we're working toward. And I think it's really exciting that our private labels are at the forefront. And I want to especially thank our product team for all the efforts to make this happen.
Yeah, kudos to them for sure that they're working on this and making sure that this is happening. You did mention private labels, and I am not sure if everyone knows what private labels are, but maybe you can touch a little. What are the private labels?
So Zalando has several different private label brands, and these are brands that we produce. And so because the goal is for these private labels to really basically address a gap in the market. And what that is being at the forefront of sustainability. And so I can't tell you yet any more details since this is not yet commercialized, but it will be coming soon from one of our private label brands. And what's nice with the private labels is because we can influence that supply chain, that's why we have an accelerated net zero target. We can really do more in terms of enacting those levers. Whereas for the other products we sell, we really are reliant on working with our partners. But that's why our partners are so key to this. I mean, we have big goals, and these require collective action. So we can't do this alone.
Yeah.
So we're going to work really closely with our partners, sharing and exchanging along the way, and also helping them to accelerate their sustainability ambitions.
I think it's a great step, and I think it makes totally sense. We can start in-house first with our brands and actually doing the trials and trying out also new material and what are actually the pieces that would work best.
Yes, exactly.
And just mentioning some of the labels, because of course there's a Zalando own label, so it's Zine, Freebo, even an odd Anna Field. So in Zalando on the website, actually they just integrate inside with all the partners. And I like that partners are also keen to know how actually these new material and new ways of working in circularity is going to happen, that they are interested in maybe also implementing for their production.
Yes, and customers is really key as well. So when we think about Zalando, we want to go beyond just mitigating our own impact, but we really are looking to how do we bring the industry along? And we see an opportunity to play an enabling role where we can help catalyze, connect, working with partners, with our customers, with innovators, with our own employees, as well as with regulators to level the playing field. And we really start with our customers. So we know that there's a bit of a tension for our customers sometimes between their love of fashion and their love of sustainability and their values.
You said it's not only about the way of circularity and the production, but you see that the customers also ask for this. Can you explain, how do you know that customers are asking for a more sustainable product?
Well, they tell us. So
how? Where?
In all of our customer research, it's clear that the majority of our customers are really interested in values-driven shopping. So they want to buy brands that they're proud of, that they associate with, what is meaningful to them. And so that's where we are really on a mission to try to help them to release this tension between their love of sustainability and their love of fashion. And our aim is to help empower them to buy better, wear better, and feel better. And what that looks like is helping them find the assortment, the products, and the brands that really do align with their values, as well as inspiring them and engaging them all along the customer journey around sustainability.
So by giving them a voice and being part of this customer researches, and then also addressing through communication and maybe even some marketing material that really makes the customer feel heard and seen, and then also getting the requested products that they are actually asking for and searching for. It's really great what Zalando has been doing, but you brought also some other pieces.
Yes.
And of course, I want to know more about it.
All right.
So your personal piece, what did you bring?
Yes. So close to my heart, I brought these dangly gold earrings.
Nice. Why earrings? Why those?
Yes. Good questions. These were my grandmother's. And she actually bought them for a college friend's birthday in the early 1940s. But she fell in love with them and decided at the last minute she couldn't give them away. So she kept them and loved them for 70 years until she gave them to me. Just before I moved to Germany, which was actually her birthplace.
Yeah. Oh, so for her it was kind of like the granddaughter's coming back home, let's say. Yep. They are lovely. I love the story behind it. They look, you can tell that they could be new since everything's kind of coming back. But I really like how they are shiny but beautiful and simple, and you can just put them actually on every day and they look amazing on you.
Oh, thank you.
And of course it gives a different sentimental value having than somebody from your family actually with you.
It does. I wear them to every major event and milestone to keep my grandma with me. She was such an inspiration. She was a pioneering scientist. She was a mother of 6, and she was a passionate advocate for education. And she taught me very many things, but at an early age, she taught me to have a firm handshake, to look people in the eye, and to do something with your life that really matters.
That's amazing 3 actually advice that she gave you.
Very practical advice.
That's true. It's simple to implement, but it gives you more confidence in life, and also when you are towards other people. The handshake part, I remember, was something that also I was taught early on, like always give a not too heavy, but like a very firm handshake so people know you are on the same level as them, that you are seen.
Exactly.
So I really like how that actually like worldwide kind of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is one of the advice that sometimes people get, because it does gives you, it puts you in a different standpoint actually already from the beginning.
It does. And one thing I love about these earrings too, from the lens of my work, is that these are quite circular. So my grandma loved them. I love them. We've cared for them and repaired them and refurbished them along the way. And I look forward to passing them down someday too.
I was going just to say, now it becomes this family piece. Your grandma started it, and then it moves now further. And And one day, maybe one of your kids, or maybe you even wait and jump and go right away to the grandkids. So your second piece, already saw you
Yes.
brought Good Karma starts here.
Yes.
So
I brought some building blocks. So these wooden blocks were given to me by my former consulting and marketing firm, which sent me over to Berlin to start the European operations.
Oh, okay. So that was your starting point to coming. Point to come to Berlin.
Yes, and it was a bit of a leap of faith. So at the time when I was asked to do this, we had no office.
Mm-hmm.
I knew no one. We had one very small client here in Europe.
Uh-huh.
And but I'd always wanted to have an international career, and I thought this was the time to do it. So I came over and quickly found an office, which is featured on these blocks, a co-work space in Prenzlauer Berg, and was able to build a team and grow a business where we could help some big companies across Europe to really create their sustainability strategies and embed them into their organizations.
That's what I was going to ask. So do you come from a sustainability background also? So in this marketing office, was it already your focus?
Sustainability has always been my passion and always been something that I wanted to make into the focus of my career. These building blocks sort of became symbolic of the blocks that built not only future steps of my career, but also of my life. Mm-hmm. So, of course, I've stayed in Berlin. I met my husband here, and we now raise our 2 young boys here.
So before we wrap up, I also asked you to share a dare to our viewers today and listeners. What should they dare to do more or try?
Mm-hmm. So going back to my grandma's advice, I would say they should dare to solve something that matters. And that is part of Zalando's founding mindset, and it's something that really drives me. Mm-hmm. So when you think about net zero and human rights, these are not easy, small topics. These are things that really matter. These are some of the biggest challenges of our time. And it's really unique to have the opportunity at Zalando to be able to work toward these big goals and to figure it out along the way with amazing teams and people that are, working really hard to make this happen.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you for inviting me.